Hello everybody, it's me, Jessica, your health fitness program manager from McLean, and I'm looking forward to guiding you through today's allergy focused yin yoga class. Here comes Uncle Buck. Let's keep our fingers crossed. We've got about 3 minutes till we get started, which is plenty of time for you to take any sort of movement or stretches that feel right for you, and also to gather your props. Highly recommend having a strap nearby and at least one block. I also have my thin little pillow around. And if you know that your hamstrings are really tight, perhaps you bring a folded up towel, or if you have a really thin pillow, or just something that's a little bit smaller than the lift that you would get from sitting on top of your block. Those are awesome, solid options. Let me just make sure everything's streaming all right. And I'll meet you down on the mat in 1 more minute. Our starting posture for the day is going to be child's pose, just like Wednesday, but hopefully not just like Wednesday. You know what I mean, Uncle Buck. Excuse me. So far away. I'm gonna move up a little closer, and that's also gonna give me the opportunity to use the arm of my couch a little bit later at the end of class for a slight inversion, or perhaps the arm of the couch sounds like a safer space to use. All right, well, hi everybody. Let's make our way into child's pose. I'm just gonna pass by the peanuts on my way there and bribe the bird a little bit. Oh, nasty. But if you don't have to bribe the bird and you can make your way into a comfortable, relaxed child's pose. Oh my gosh, Jessica. It really helps if I bring the class along as well. We're gonna hang out here for just about 3 minutes. You can stretch your arms as far forward as you want. You can even start using some props if you want to, if the floor feels really far away, or if you don't want to rest your head all the way down towards the floor, because having your head inverted right here is going to be really draining of those sinuses, which can, be both good and bad. So just take this time to slow down your breath a little bit, or more so to just come into a more relaxed breath. Notice if you're just breathing at the top of your chest, and think towards expanding your breath, bringing it down towards your diaphragm. I know that if you are really suffering from seasonal allergies though, and you're feeling really congested, whatever kind of breath that you can take sounds awesome. Sometimes forcing yourself to elongate it can be a little bit more uncomfortable, so if that is not what feels good and relaxing to you today, just keep doing what does. So in yin yoga, we're going to be working towards creating as much stillness as possible, both within the body and within the mind. So take note of if you find yourself fidgeting, maybe you're not moving physically, but mentally your mind is still going 1,000,000 miles per hour. That's why I really like to just tune into my breath. If I find that my thoughts are going elsewhere, just taking the time to perhaps count the length of my inhale and exhale for whatever you can to be right here, right now. Thanks for Bringing some rice over, Uncle Buck. All right, just a couple breaths here. And then take your time, move with some intention. So you don't need to move really quickly. Enjoy feeling the motions throughout your body. Bring your hands, palms underneath of your chest and shoulders. Go ahead, press yourself up into tabletop. You can move your blocks to the side. Give yourself a little bit of cat-cow. Gonna take 2 minutes right here in cat-cow. I like to try and tell you how long each pose is gonna be. Because I know for myself when I'm taking a yin yoga class that the mystery of how long I might have to hold something can feel really uncomfortable. And we're here to be as relaxed as possible. And another way that I like to pass through each asana or whatever kind of shape even I'm creating, because it doesn't have to be perfect. I know after doing this practice for a while that for me, 1 minute of being relaxed in a posture is about 3 breaths. And I like to keep this in mind because that way when I say something like, we've got 2 minutes left, if I can't see the timer, I know that I can take 6 breaths and get there. But also, if I find that I've taken 6 breaths and it's nowhere near 2 minutes, that it's pretty likely that I've come into a posture a little too deeply because it's affected my breathing. So just giving you that little story so you can think about really letting your breath be the guide for how deeply you take a stretch. And I hope that you're enjoying whatever kind of cat-cow motion feels good for you today. Because next up, we're gonna press up onto our toes. We're getting a little yin here in our yang. You're welcome. Pressing the toes up, we're gonna send hips up towards the ceiling and come up into down dog. And take this first minute here in down dog to pedal through your heels. Get those big stretches into your calves. Maybe you press up onto both feet at one time. I always like to drop my heels to one side and then drop my heels to the other side. Maybe you shake your head yes, shake your head no. So we'll spend just about 30 more seconds here, moving around, deeply bending your knees, and then coming back up into that hips lifted down dog. Maybe even find that you need to take a second and shake your hands out because we're going to spend 1 minute pressed up into that down dog together with complete stillness. So start to really stretch those hips towards the ceilings, biceps close by your ears. 1 minute begins right now. You don't need to come any deeper into your down dog. You're really just trying to be as still as possible. Remember, if your eyes are moving, your mind is moving. But if you find that your breath is really impacted, and you come into a stretch too deep, it's gone from being noticeable, maybe uncomfortable, to painful. That's when you can ease your way out, find a new spot to relax, but avoid trying to like come out and then in and out and in of these challenging, potentially stretches. Just do what you can. All right, great work. We're gonna walk feet to hands or hands to feet. Next up is a nice big dangle. So hopefully those blocks are nearby. If the floor feels really far away, feel free to place your hands on the blocks. Maybe you're even a little bit more lifted. Make sure you're hinging from the hips. So once again, belly is coming towards the thighs as opposed to hinging from the waist. where there's a lot of rounding in the back. Ease yourself on down and find something that you can hang out in. And you can have as generous of a bend to your knees as needed. We're getting that big hamstring stretch in. I don't even eat pork, but like that's the second time this week that like, I don't know, I thought that the sound of the word ham stretch sounded kind of good. Like we were doing hamstring roll-ins the other day, or roll-ups I think I called them. And I was like, man, that sounds tasty. I think I'm just ready for Passover to be over, to eat some chametz. So if you're enjoying any holidays right now where you've had to give something up, because I know that there are a lot of them going on, may you stay strong here as we're coming towards the end. Unless your holiday just started, in which case you can do it. I mean, whatever it is that you're personally working on, that maybe you've had to sacrifice something that you enjoy. Maybe you're sacrificing some TV time for movement. Maybe you're swapping bread out with lettuce wraps. I mean, any of those things, if you really want it, I know you can do it. You gotta want it for yourself though, that's number one. Right, we got just about 3 more breaths for a normal person. Not me, I'm weird. It's okay, I embrace it. I think it's good to be weird. Great. Next up, we're going to carefully make our way back down towards the floor. So you can bring your hands towards the floor, start to bring your knees down towards the floor. We're going to come onto our glutes. You can get there any way you want to. I'm going to come through tabletop and then cross my legs behind me and then sit back on my bum. Yay. And bring a block with you, of course, because next up we've got a supported glute bridge. Cool. Right there. So the block is going to go right underneath of your lower back. I think it's easiest to relax yourself all the way down. Feet are about hips width distance apart. Press the soles of the feet to the floor. Bring your block. Or if that feels too intense, maybe just a pillow or a rolled up towel. Or if it doesn't feel like enough, you can explore using a higher part of your block. Just look at the timer. Great. And we're going to hang out here in this supported glute bridge for 3 minutes. Do whatever feels right with your arms. I'm going to stretch my arms out towards the side and really take advantage as much as possible of this bit of a chest opener here too. So start a scan of your body from head to toe. Remember, if your eyes are moving, your mind is moving. Find some heaviness of the glutes hanging off of the opposite side of your block. And just return to your relaxed breath. Think about as you scan your body, maybe you found some tense spots. Maybe they're physical tension in your upper body or in your toes, or maybe it's a little bit of mental stress. Whichever. Really use your inhale to just notice how your body feels. Take in whatever emotions are happening
And use your exhale to do your best to just release those things. So if your body's feeling tight, imagine that inhale actually being like a balloon, creating a little bit more space for your tense spots. And when you exhale and let it go, everything just has a little bit more space. And if it's mental, same thing. Maybe think towards something about yourself that's amazing. What's something you can be proud of today? And let's inhale in that thought. And anything that's stressful, we don't have to let that go, whatever. Did you just hear that amazing thing that I'm proud of myself for today? Let's be all up on that. Last few breaths in this chest opening supported glute bridge. Really plant your feet down into the floor. Start to squeeze your glutes. Maybe you bring your arms in by your side for some support as you inhale. Lift yourself off of your prop and exhale one vertebrae at a time, gluing that back down towards the floor. Maybe a gentle tuck of that pelvis as well to keep that lower back down to the mat. Because next we're going to draw knees up towards chest for a little knees to chest pose. Just about 2 minutes right here. If it's hard for you to hold on to your knees, you can always place your hands behind your thighs, or you can grab hold of your strap. Relax the back of your head and your shoulders. Have you ever noticed when you're really quiet and still and just within your breath and you're feeling a little relaxed, sometimes you can feel your heartbeat like in other parts of your body. And if that sounds a little weird, well, I told you, I'm weird. And if that's something that you can relate to, cool. That's one of my favorite moments in Yin, when I really do start to just relax and release, and it's like, whoa, I can feel my heartbeat in my fingers. Right now I sort of feel it in the back of the head. Okay, next up is going to be happy baby. So if it's easy for you, you can just send the soles of the feet up towards the ceiling. I'm feeling a little tight today, so I grabbed my strap. And if you were watching the screen, you might have seen that I used my feet to just bring that strap a little bit closer so I can keep my lower back planted on the floor. So just, all I'm saying is stay as relaxed as possible. Find the stretch that feels good for you. We're going to hang out and be super still, happy babies for just 2 minutes starting right now. Come back to the idea of melting the back of your head and your shoulders down into the mat. Big hip opener right here. And also this is a good start towards lymphatic draining of just sending all that energy and whatnot as well back to the heart. getting this great squat position in without having to balance on the floor. So you're welcome. Good. Do that total body scan one more time. Head to toes. Relax as much as you can. All right, let's bring those feet together and release them back down on the floor. Open your feet nice and wide, about mat's width distance apart, and take a nice little windshield wipe through your knees. You can bring your arms really wide out to the side. We're gonna go for a wide knee spine twist. So keeping your feet really wide as they are. Go ahead, drop them over to one side. And if it feels uncomfortable for you to not really have the support of the two legs together, of one leg sort of floating in the air, go ahead and bring a prop to the party. That actually does feel really nice. So just a slightly different version of a spine twist. A little bit more of a stretch within the lower half of the body. We'll spend one more minute here and then turn to the opposite side. Think about creating a little bit of space with your shoulders. So if your shoulders were creeping up towards your neck, like I know mine were, just like squeezing those shoulder blades in a little bit more to support the spine, to give you a little bit more space in your neck and chest for some big deep breaths. Maybe you even find you need to bring your arms down a little bit lower. All right, let's carefully bring the soles of the feet back down towards the mat. Press into them. You might need to shift your spine a little to the side, support yourself. Maybe move your block if you need to. And relax your legs down again. Ooh. My other leg found the block as well. Honestly, it feels really great. I'm just going to use these props. Remember, if your eyes are moving, your mind is moving. I feel very Wizard of Oz as I check out the clock. Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. But my favorite thing about yin is you really can just close your eyes and do your best to create the shapes as described. We've got a minute and a half left right here. All right, start to bring the soles of the feet back down to the ground. We're going to make our way up to a seated position. Take your time. Get there any way you want. Maybe you want to rock up gently like an egg. Maybe you want to roll over to one side and press yourself up to a seated position. Once you get there, we're going to extend our legs out in front of us. Now, if this is hard for you because your hamstrings are really tight, this is where that folded up towel or really thin pillow comes into play and can be a little more relaxing than having this pretty big block. Or you can also try sitting on a block for the next couple of postures. My hamstrings are feeling pretty good, but otherwise you would just want to have that prop right underneath of your sit bones. Maybe it's even just folding your mat in and getting your mat there for a little bit of support. All right, so next up we've got staff pose. So placing your fingers down by your side. I'm gonna bring a block over here for a little bit of a easier lift. Nice little lift of the chest. You can flex your toes back towards your face if your hamstrings are really sinking, and you can allow those toes to fall in the opposite direction. But doing your best to just keep your head over your heart, over your hips. Just a couple breaths left right here. Awesome. Feel free to relax a little bit through the chest. Maybe even give yourself a little wiggle here. We're going to go for a spine twist. You can start with whichever leg you want. Let's also, I love to access the ascending colon first and then the descending colon. So whatever it looks like I'm doing, I promise I'm crossing my right leg over the left. Right hand comes behind your lower back like a little bit of a kickstand. Press into it. Really find some lifted length. Squeeze your shoulder blades together. And then if you would like to, turn and twist. Look over your opposite shoulder. Make sure you find that lifted length first, though. And we're just going to keep this hand down on the floor because it's yin and we're meant to use props, and our hand is a kickstand, and it makes it easier to keep that spine up nice and straight. You don't need to go any deeper. I'm just going to turn my head so I can look at the clock, which I discourage you from doing right now. I'll do it for you. I'm such a good friend. We're just spending about 2 minutes in this and the following position.
use your next inhale, check in on that length, and on your exhale, turn yourself back towards your extended leg. We're gonna uncross our legs and bring your heel as close towards your glute as possible. Make sure there is a little bit of space between your heel and your inner thigh. You can take a little tilt forward of your pelvis. So next up, you have an option to either be right here in stump, maybe using your hands on your thigh to keep yourself lifted, maybe using your elbow crook, or you can even come forward a little bit more, maybe really reach towards that toe, or reaching your hand forward, you bend at the elbow and the backs of your fingers come towards your thigh for a little bit of a bind, for either half stump, which was the upright one, or a variation on sage pose. Got 1 minute left right here. If you took any sort of a forward fold or bind, carefully make your way out. Extend your right leg forward to meet with your left. Bring both hands behind you. Take a moment, press your fingers into the floor. Get a quick little kind of like upright, modified fish pose. We're going to come back to this one later. And then hands come forward again. Take that gentle little tilt of your pelvis as needed and then stack your heart over your hips, head over heart. We got staff pose one more time. As I watch my legs gently give some trembles, it's a good time to remind you all that that is normal here in yin yoga while you're holding some of these postures and creating a little bit more space and flexibility and connections with the nerves and whatnot. That maybe you'll get some involuntary twitches and trembles. Next up, we've got that spine twist. So this time, keeping right leg straight, crossing your left leg over your right, bringing your left hand as close to your lower back as needed to help press and lift yourself up. Find that length, and then you can find your twist. You can do whatever feels good with your right hand. Maybe you use the back of the arm to come into a deeper twist in your upper back. Or maybe you just gently hold on while still squeezing those shoulder blades together. Work to relax and release your hamstring as much as possible right here. So notice if you're creating any extra tension, use your breath to let it go. Enjoy that one spot where your eyes are focused. Final minute right here. If you're feeling this deep stretch and it's feeling challenging, I want you to come back to that one awesome thing that you're feeling good about today. Carefully take your time. Start to untwist, uncross your legs. Pull that left leg in, heel close to your glutes. Separation between two legs though. Feel free to either use that arm to pull yourself up for like a half squat, a little stump, or reaching forward, you can find that half bind. That doesn't feel great for me on this side. So I'm just gonna stick with this awesome half stump. Still getting such a great stretch in the hip, in the low back, a little engagement through that upper back as well. Beautiful. If you fold it forward, start to gently unbind, take a lift, release your leg, sending both legs out in front of us. I'm going to scooch a little bit lower onto my mat, and I'm bringing a block. Next up, we've got a support. Oh, I got 2 blocks. Perfect. Supported fish pose. If your neck is feeling uncomfortable, you might actually want the second block or a pillow. But we're gonna lay on down here so that our shoulders are supported on the block. And if you want, you can have your head supported on a block as well. Keeping those elbows closer by your side can be supportive. And if you're feeling good in your head and neck, you can even release your head towards the floor. So getting some nice little self-myofascial release for that upper back area. Another big chest opener here. So important to do that scan of your body from head to toe and really ask yourself how you can relax here. So relax through that lower back. Maybe you open your feet a little bit wider. Maybe you bring your feet in a little bit closer. Take a moment to find something that you can hold with. And then we're gonna stay here for 2 minutes.
If you have your knees bent, go ahead, extend your legs, walk those elbows in. Ooh, lift your head up, press into your elbows, lift yourself up. And then we're gonna turn around, lay down on our backs. Next up is a little legs up the wall. Legs up, whatever you've got around. Pose. Yay! And if you don't have any sort of props around, you can always just send your legs up towards the ceiling. Or you can also use your strap to help you more comfortably just send those legs up. So scooch as close to the walls feels good for you. This is another one where it might feel great to have folded up blanket or a towel or a little pillow under your lower back. You are more than welcome to stay here in some sort of an inverted posture for final savasana. Or you can turn around and lay down on your back for a more traditional final savasana. We've got 3 more minutes of some sort of stillness together. I'm going to go ahead and come into a more traditional savasana. This is right here where I am. you're welcome to stay in this final Savasana for as long as feels good for you today. If you would like to close class out together, take your time and make your way into a seated position of your choice. Keyword being, take your time.
Okay, if it feels right, you can inhale your arms all the way up overhead, palms come together, and exhale, bring your hands down to heart center in Namaskar with your thumbs touching on your sternum. Tuck your chin down to your chest. Take a moment to bow to and honor yourself because you are amazing. If you have any questions or concerns about anything that I said or we did today, please reach out till we meet again. Remember, you're amazing. Think good thoughts, speak good words, eat good foods, do good deeds, take the time to nourish yourself from the inside out. Go ahead, bring your thumb up to your third eye, your drishti. Lift your heart, lift your face up towards the sky, and know that the light within me honors, sees, and is so thankful for the light within you. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Namaste.